Hey guys! So I'm finally filming my August wrap up. I'm sorry I'm a trash human being. It's already the 7th of September. But I went back to school and it's the most stressful thing because I'm still working as many work hours as I have been working. It's just now I'm doing school on top of that. So literally I have not that much time to do anything else. Um, but yeah, so that started the very last week of August. And it's just a lot because Tuesdays and Thursdays are long days for me because I have to get up at 6 a.m., get ready, leave the house by 7 to get to class on time by 8 'cause across town. What?
My back hurts.
Oh. Anyway, so then I go to class at 8. I get out at 11. And then it takes me like another 40 minutes to get back to the apartment. So I get back around 11:40 and then I have an hour before I have to leave to go to work at 1. And then I work till like 7 or 8, depending on whatever's going on. And it's a lot. It's a lot. And then we just had like 3 new hires, like right in a row, no call, no show on us. And 2 of them were the ones that were helping me in receiving. So that's fun. So yeah, it's been a lot. It's been a lot. So that's why I've been absent, and I'm sorry. And I can't tell you it's gonna get better, because I don't know if it will, because I don't know what's gonna happen, basically. And I'm still dealing with a lot of, like, issues with, like, transcripts and stuff. And also, sorry if I seem a little... My boyfriend is, he was building me my new bookshelf that I just got at Target. I started to, and I got to, like, step 3. And then I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. And I needed his help. So, yeah. Okay, also, like, I don't know, some window just popped up. Okay, there it goes. I don't care about your stupid thing. Sorry, it, like, popped up and I couldn't see. Anyway, so yeah, so basically, this is happening. We moved, if you can remember, there was a chair there. We moved it over there to, like, by the windows. So now I can have a third bookshelf go, like, right here against this wall, right before this door. So then I can have 4 bookshelves, and it's gonna be so nice, because I'm running out of room on all these. So basically, I'm gonna, like, I'm just gonna take from, like, there, and then just shift that over, and then just shift and shift and shift, and then I should have extra space. Yeah, so that's my plan. So anyway, I'm gonna stop chatting to you about random shit, and we're gonna actually get into my August wrap up. I read a total of 23 books this month, which again is pretty good, but again, I didn't start class until the last week, so we'll see how September goes. Yeah, I don't know how it's gonna go. Anyway, first book I read in the month of August was The Last Summer of the Garrett Girls by Jessica Spotswood, and this was actually really good. It was a lot better than I was expecting. I was mainly interested in it because I knew that one of the sisters was gay, and she's so cute, and she reads a lot of young adult fiction, and it's the cutest shit because she mentions all these books, and I, like, one of them, Reign of the Fallen, I had read at the beginning of the week because this was, like, for the booktubeathon, and I had read it at the start of the week, and I really liked it. And to hear her talking about it, it was just so cute, and I just loved it, and I just love her so much. Like, I would literally die for Vi. V. However you say that. It's V-I. Vi? I don't know. But yeah, I would die for her. And the other sisters were cool and everything. Like, I did enjoy their stories, but, like, at the end of the day, like, what I remember about this book is just how much I love Vi. So, yeah, no. And I ended up giving that a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. Alright, the next book I read was The Reader by Tracy Chee. And this is so good. It was so crazy. Okay, so basically at the bottom of certain pages, there is words. I'm trying to find an example. Yeah, so at the bottom of certain pages where the page number is, there's little words, like, right there. and you got to keep track of them throughout the book. And so I was keeping track on like a memo pad on my phone, so every time I came across one I would type it in, and then it has a hidden message for you at the end of the book, and it's so cool. So like if you read this, definitely do it, because it's so much fun to see what it all says at the end. It's super cool. So I'm really hoping that the sequel does the same thing. I want to pick up the sequel here pretty soon. But yeah, I really, really, really enjoyed this book. It's basically about this girl whose family gets killed, and then she and I think it says like her aunt takes her in, and she only has one possession left from like her house with like her that was with her parents, and that's this rectangular object, and she didn't know what it was, but she finds out that it's a book, and she starts to teach herself to read from that book after her aunt gets taken by these people. And she's like trying to figure out what's going on and figure out who took her aunt and to find them and get her back. And it's just a whole thing. And she like, it's just wow. Just wow. So highly recommend this. I really, really, really enjoyed it. And I gave it a 5 out of 5. All right. The next book I read was Cross My Heart and Hope to Spy by Allie Carter. I found like the second, third, and fourth book when I went down to my dad's at a Books A Million used, which was pretty good. And they were super cheap. I'd already read the first one from the library, so I just went ahead and bought the second, third, and fourth one, and these are so quick and easy. I actually read it in the car on the way back here from my dad's, and yeah, I really enjoyed it. It's just continuing on with like the Gallica girls and like the boarding school and them learning to spy, and just like some mystery stuff that's happening in this book. And it definitely had me like, wait, what? And I was just like trying to figure it out as we went along and stuff, and I was actually wrong, so I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. So yeah, but I do really enjoy these books. They're just a lot of fun, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. Alright, next one I read was, well, if I can't find it, Black Butler Volume 4 by Yana Toposho. This is just continuing on with my baes. I love Sebastian so much. I feel like I've said that so many times, but I love Sebastian so much. Like, I would die for him. So yeah. But this one, we actually meet this other, like, this prince guy, and he has like his own kind of like not really, I mean, I guess kind of servant, but kind of not. I don't know, it's hard to explain. But basically, his butler. It's his butler. And him and Sebastian kind of have this competition going, because he's actually really good at, like, swordplay like Sebastian and stuff, and he actually can, like, hold his own against him, and it's, like, really interesting. So, yeah, I loved it. I just love these so much. I love them so much. And I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. The next book I read was actually Brokeback Mountain. I listened to the audiobook when I think I was just like, I was at home and I was just doing like blog stuff, and so while I was like working on the blog that I do with my friend Kristen, I was just listening to Brokeback Mountain, and it's only like an hour audiobook, and I listened to 2 times speed, so it only took me 30 minutes. And I legit started tearing up, because I can't believe how much content there actually was in it for how short it was. Like, so many of my favorite quotes from the movie are in it. And I mean, I guess that sounds kind of dumb, because I mean, obviously that's what the movie was based off of, but I mean, like I said, it's so short. I didn't think there would be so much in it, and there was. Like, the whole, I wish I knew how to quit you was in there, and like, I was just like a mess, because I love that story so much. Like, wow. So much. Love it so much. Yeah, I really need to, like, watch the movie again. I know it's on Hulu, and I'm just like, it would be so much fun. But also, it would kill me. Like, every time I watch that movie, I cry. I just can't help it. I just cry and cry and cry. Anyway, but I gave it the book a 4 out of 5. The next book I read was, oh god, don't fall, Spinning Silver by Naomi Novik. And this is like kind of like a Rumpelstiltskin's retelling. It was really weird. And at the beginning it was like really incredibly vague. Like, I was super confused for like the first 100 pages or so, because it was like talking about all this stuff, but it was talking about it in a very vague way, and it was almost making you feel kind of stupid because you didn't know what it was talking about, but it also wasn't going in depth enough for you to know what it was talking about. Yeah, it was super weird. I did end up enjoying it, but I kind of feel the same I did with Uprooted. I definitely enjoyed this more than Uprooted, but like when I finished Uprooted after I'd sat with it for a while, I realized that it wasn't like super great. Like, it was pretty forgettable and everything. I think this one I enjoyed more just because of how much I really do enjoy Rumpelstiltskin. And I think that's the reason why I did enjoy this one more. Also because I really enjoyed like that we follow 3 different females as opposed to just one in Uprooted. I think that really helped a lot. But yeah, I gave it a 4 out of 5. It was enjoyable, but I don't know, I might lower it to like a 3.75, which I guess sounds kind of picky, but again, it just wasn't as good as I wanted it to be, but it was better than Uprooted was. Does that make sense? I don't know. Anyway. Let's see. The next book I read was To All the Boys I Loved Before by Jenny Han, and that was a reread for me. I read this book back for the first time back in like 2015 or so. But I wanted to reread it before I watched the movie, so I did, and the movie was so good, you guys. I really loved it. Although there were a few changes I was not happy with, like they don't call themselves the Song Girls as much as they do in the book. Like, I don't think I even heard it once. So I didn't enjoy that. I don't know. I don't know if I was a big fan of the change that they made to the very first Peter and Laura Jean kiss. Like, I really enjoyed in the book when she just, like, literally, like, throws herself at him in the hallway, wraps her legs around his waist. Like, I love that. I was like, yes! I thought that was the greatest thing ever. So I kind of don't like that they changed it, but that's being, like, extra picky, because the movie was so good. It was so aesthetically pleasing. They really put a lot into Laura Jean's outfits and, like, sets and everything. I know there's been some stuff because while they did use Asian actresses, they didn't use a Korean main lead. I think the actress is actually Vietnamese. That's what I heard Chloe at Books for Chloe say. And yeah, that does kind of suck. But I think she did a good job, and I'm happy that we did get something with an Asian lead, but I understand where they're coming from and that they wanted it to be a Korean, or half Korean, main lead. But yeah, but hopefully this will kind of open the gateway into more POCs being main leads in movies and stuff. Hopefully we will get to that point. So let's all cross our fingers and our toes. But again, really enjoyed the movie. I've already been like really wanting to rewatch it, but I've been so busy. Like I said, I can't justify spending the time doing that. So the next book I read was an audiobook I listened to while I was at work, and that was Sky in the Deep by Adrienne Young. This actually has like a bunch of mixed reviews on it. Some people either really didn't like it or they really do like it. I'm kind of in the middle. I gave it a 3 out of 5. It wasn't anything special, but I did enjoy it. Like, I enjoyed the storyline, and I did have a couple of, like, moments while I was listening to it. I was like, no way, like, that kind of stuff. There were some characters I didn't like. Like, really all I cared about was, like, the main girl and her brother. Like, I can't even remember their names, so that's another reason why I got a 3 out of 5, because I'm like, huh? Everybody else I just kind of didn't care about. I was kind of like, eh. I do care about the one guy, though, that her brother saved. I think his name was, like, Fitz or something like that. See, I can remember his name. But, yeah, that was it. But, yeah, again, it was pretty forgettable, but I enjoyed it while I was listening to it, so 3 out of 5. The next book I read was Legendary by Stephanie Garber, and I actually buddy read this with my friend Kristen, and it was super good. Wow. I loved this so much more than Caraval. Like, I would go to the ends of earth for Tella. Like, loved it. It was so freaking good, and, like, the stuff that happens in this, like, the stuff with Tella and you know who, not Voldemort, but, like, I don't want to spoil it, so if you've read it, you know what I'm talking about. Like, I'm here for it. I will go down with it. I will go down with that ship, for sure. Hell yeah. I am so ready for the next book, and I am crossing my fingers that it is in both of the girls' perspectives, because, I mean, from the synopsis, I can already tell we're going to get Scarlet's perspective, whether we want it or not. So I at least want it to be maybe alternating chapters, because I want Tola's stories. Like, I better get Tola's perspective, or I am going to be hella pissed. Just to let you know. Okay. But I gave this a 4.7 out of 5 stars. I took off the 0.25 stars because there was something in this that really irked me. I mean, like, it's like a pet peeve of mine, and it really irked me. But other than that, this is a fantastic book. The next book I read was A Curious Beginning by Deanna Rayburn. This is a book I picked up because Riley was talking about it on her channel. She was talking about this series. She, like, basically binge read them, and she says they're really, really good, and I was like, and it's, like, set in, like, Victorian England, and I was like, let me just grab that right now. I found it at, like, a used bookstore for, like, super cheap, so that's why. But I read it, and I actually really enjoyed it. It's super interesting. It's funny because I'm taking a zoology course now, and so, like, she, like, collects butterflies and stuff, and we are kind of talking about some stuff like that, so that's kind of, it's kind of fun that way. But yeah, I really enjoyed this book. I'm excited to read the rest of the series and see how it goes, because this was very much like a Find Your Feet first book, so I don't think we went as deep as we will in later books, but I did really enjoy the characters, and, like, our main character is awesome. She's very much a like, her own person, and she's very much comfortable with who she is and everything, and I really love her. So I gave it a 4.25 out of 5. I was really using, like, those 0.25, 0.75 ratings this month, I swear. The next book I read was Midnight for Charlie Bone, which is another reread. I read this back when I was in middle school, and I loved these books so much. Basically, they were really high for AR points, but also they're just really good, and I finally finished collecting the whole entire series, and I decided, you know what, I'm gonna go ahead and start rereading them, and I reread this one, and it didn't take me long at all. The font is, like, huge, and I can't believe how much of this I forgot. I had, like, very vague memories of what the first book happened, and the stuff I remembered was actually very, very small details, and I'm just like, okay, I remembered that, but I didn't remember this huge plot point. Like, what is wrong? Like, I didn't remember the main plot of the first book at all, but I remember these tiny little incidents that happened, and I'm just like, what? So it's funny what your mind remembers. But again, I really enjoyed my reread. I'm so excited to continue on with the series and see what else is in store. and I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. The next two books I read was first volume and second volume of what do you go? Love is Hard for an Akito. This is a manga that I picked up at work. I just thought it looked super cute, and it is pretty cute. So it's basically about these 4 adults, and the 2 here on the front cover, this girl is very much into like video games and anime and BL and all this stuff, and she finds it really hard to find a lasting relationship because once whatever guy she's with finds out about that, they just can't deal with it, and they leave her. And she works at this office, and basically her old childhood friend who she used to play video games and everything with starts working there, and he mentions something about one of the video games or animes or something, and she like freaks out. She's like, oh my god, you almost outed me to like everybody at work and stuff. And he was like, why is that a big deal? Because he doesn't care if people know that he likes that kind of stuff. And she was basically saying how like it's really hard for her to find a lasting relationship and everything and stuff. And he's like, well, why don't we just date? And then they start to date, and it's a lot cuter than you think it would be. And the other 2 adults are basically their friends, and they're also in their fandom culture, and it's so fucking cute. I just love it. Here, I'll show you a pic. I'll show you the other 2 ones. These are their 2 friends. But yeah, I really love this, and I cannot wait until I have money so that I can pick up the next volumes. Again, I just haven't had the cash to pick it up. I have started to build my manga collection though, and it's really exciting because I love manga so much. For a while, I never really wanted to buy manga just because it is really expensive and you read it really fast, but I really want to have a manga collection because I love manga so much. So that's what I'm doing. The next book I read was Rebel by R.J. Anderson. I finally read it. I've been saying I was going to read this for months, and I finally did it. I am dying. Anyway, so I'm pretty proud of myself. I really enjoyed this. I think I might have liked it better than Knife, maybe a little bit. I think I'm gonna like Arrow the most though, so I'm excited to get to that one. And I gave this a 4 out of 5. The next book I read was The Coming Storm by Rob Kidd, which is the first book in like a little Jack Sparrow thing, and I thought it was so cute how you could already tell like Jack's personality, even though he's like a kid. Like you can totally see it, and it's the cutest fucking shit I have ever seen in my life. I love it so much. So yeah, I'm really excited to continue on with these. I have the next one. These are really hard to find, but I found the first one finally at that Books A Million, a used thing, so might be looking online there to find more when I need them. The next book I read was Earth, Air, Fire, and Water, More Techniques of Natural Magic by Scott Cunningham. I'm getting very much into the Wicca faith, and this is just more of my doing research for my year and a day. And yeah, I really enjoy Scott Cunningham. Like, I enjoy his writing and stuff. So I've been, like, I already read, the Wicca Solitary Guide for the Modern Witch or whatever, and then I also read Living Wicca, and then this is my 3rd book of his that I've read. So I do really enjoy him, and then I also have a few others that I have quite a few more that I'm gonna be reading, so you'll be hearing more about those in future wrap-ups. I already read quite a few this month, so you'll hear those at the end of this month. Anyway, I'm talking too much. The next book I read was an audiobook I listened to at work, and that was The Dating Disasters of Emma Nash, which was a book that Maddie over at Maddie and B read in one of their read-all days, and I was really interested in reading it, but I didn't want to get the book, because the cover for the US is like kind of crappy, and I prefer the UK edition. But then on Scribd they had the audiobook available, and I was like, oh, I'll just listen to it. So that I did, and it was really good, really funny. I did laugh quite a bit. It was very reminiscent of Georgia Nicholson, but maybe just a bit more mature. I don't know, kind of neck and neck with that. But I gave it a 4 out of 5. The next book, you guys, is my favorite book I've read this entire year, and that is Saint's Blood by Sebastian de Castell. I love these books so much. And you might be wondering, why didn't you tab it? You tab all of these. Okay, I had no tabs when I was reading this. Like, I was out of tabs. I have tabs now, but I was out of tabs when I read this, so that's why it doesn't have any tabs. I might go back through and tab it up, but anyway. But I loved it so much, you guys. Like, I would follow Brastate, Kest, and Falkio over a cliff without a second's doubt or hesitation. I love them so much, 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 and I love this series so much, and I love Sebastian de Castell so much, and I just love everything so much, and I can't wait to read Tyrant's Throne. I just don't know when I actually will get to it. I could possibly read it this month because I'm doing Emoji-a-thon, and one of the challenges is read a predicted 5-star read, and like, obviously I'm gonna give Tyrant's Throne 5 out of 5 stars. I've given all of them 5 out of 5 stars. This one obviously got 5 out of 5 stars, so, but we'll see. But yeah, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it, loved it. Mwah. Greatest thing ever. If you have not started this series, you need to get right with yourself, and you need to love yourself, and you need to pick up the first book, which is called Traitor's Blade, and then the second one is Night's Shadow. This is the third one, and then Tyrant's Throne is the fourth one, and you just need to love yourself and read these books because they're so freaking good. Okay, that's my little spiel. The next book I read was Book of Shadows by Kate Tiernan, which is the first book in the Sweep series, and I wish someone had told me earlier that these are actually about Wicca, like fiction books about Wicca, and I was like, why did no one tell me? I would have picked this up so long ago, because I've actually owned this for a while, but I hadn't started reading it, and then I read it the other day, and I was like, I wish I would have known. But this edition has the first 3 books in it. I read the first one, Book of Shadows, and I plan on reading The Coven here pretty soon. So I'm really excited, and I also plan to pick up the rest of this series at some point whenever I have some spare money. They're not that expensive either, so hopefully soon. But yeah, I can't believe I didn't know that they were about Wicca. Like, I would have been on this so much sooner. But I really enjoyed it, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. The next book I read was The Modern Guide to Witchcraft by Skye Alexander. I read the ebook of this on Scribd. They actually have quite a few Wicca books on there, which is really good. I really enjoyed this. It was super informative. It just gave me, it just was like a lot of information on a few different subjects in witchcraft, and yeah, I really enjoyed it, and I gave it a 4 out of 5. The next book I read was an audiobook I listened to at work, and that was P.S. I Miss You by Jen Petra Roy. Dylan over at Dylan the Reader, like, said something about this the other day, and I looked on Scribd, and they had the audiobook, and it was only like 5 hours long, and I listened to it at 2 times speed, so it was only like, 2.5 hours for me, and I listened to it at work, and it was pretty good. It was actually really sad, so I got a little teary. I was like, what? And I did not see the twist coming, like, at all. Like, the twist came, and I was just like, no fucking way. That was my reaction. But I gave it a 4.5 out of 5. And the next book I read was My Plain Jane by Cynthia Han, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. Unfortunately, I didn't enjoy this as much as My Lady Jane. You guys know My Lady Jane was one of my favorite books of that year, and I gave it a 5 out of 5. And it was so good. It was so amazing. At first I had given My Lady Jane 4 out of 5, but then I couldn't stop thinking about it for weeks, and so then I raised my rating. This one wasn't as good as that. I never read Jane Eyre. I tried to before I read this, but most boring shit I've ever read in my entire life. Okay, sorry. So I read the Spark Notes for it instead, just so I could get an idea, and that way I would know certain references to it. And I think that was fine. I don't think that hindered my enjoyment of this at all. I just think I really don't like Jane Eyre, as a character, as a human. I just don't like her. I adored Charlotte Bronte in this. She was, I love that they made her a character, and I loved how they did her character. She's super intelligent. Obviously she's a writer, but she's very much a very capable woman, and she's very sure of herself, and yeah, I just loved her so much. If this had just been about her, it might have gotten a better rating, but yeah, unfortunately. But yeah, I did really, really enjoy Charlotte. So this I give a 4 out of 5, again, just because I didn't really like Jane Eyre, but I really did enjoy Charlotte. I'm really interested to see what the next book that they do of this, if they are doing another one, will be. What Jane it'll be. We'll see. And then the last book I read was These Rebel Waves by Sarah Rosh. And again, they had this on Scribd, the audiobook. I listened to it at work, and it was so freaking good. I was freaking out about how good this book was. I definitely enjoy it 5 billion% more than I did this Ashes trilogy, which I did really enjoy. But this has got pirates in it, and it's got some LGBTQIA plus in there. One of our main characters, he likes the boys, and there's a male romance in here, and I'm just I'm praying, can we please get a female romance in there at some point? Just because I do really enjoy the male romance, but again, female romances just aren't present enough, especially in YA fantasy, and I would just really enjoy that, so we'll see. But I did really enjoy These Rebel Waves. The twist had me shook completely. And I really enjoyed all of our characters. Our characters were really great, and I feel everybody was super fleshed out. I really loved the world building. I felt everything was explained in a very, in a really good way. It wasn't, info dumpy, but it also, wasn't vague, Spinning Silver. You knew what they were talking about. So I really enjoyed that, and I gave it a 5 out of 5. It was awesome. And I'm so excited for the continuation. Which will be another year until it comes, but I'm excited. Yeah, so that's all I read in the month of August. I'm sorry that I cough so much. I'm sorry that my voice is leaving me. I am dying with allergies. It's rained the last few days, and it stirred up all the stuff in the air, and basically I am sickly now. So yeah, anyway, I finally have some days off because it's the weekend, and I'm just gonna chill. I do have some homework stuff to do, but I'm not doing it until tomorrow because I needed to just relax today, because I've just been working myself to death, because I go to work and then I come home and I do school stuff, and then I have a couple hours to myself, and then I go to bed, and then I get up, and then I go to class, and then I go to work, and then I come home and I do homework, and then I go to bed, and then I have to go to work again the next. It's just a whole thing. So tired AF. Love you guys, and hopefully I'll see you soon.